Today is July 27, 2016. Good morning. My name is Marisol Hernandez. I'm the chairwoman of the Chicago Board of Elections. Seated to my right is Commissioner William Cressy, and to my left is Commissioner Jonathan Swain. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? If not, then we will proceed with the approval of the regular board meeting minutes for July 12, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Minutes are approved. Next item is the Executive Director's report. Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just to let the board members know that it's been a busy summer for the Chicago Board. We've had some polling places that have refused to re-up for the November election. We're working on finding replacements for those. We're still going over some of the items with our early voting sites, trying to get larger locations. So that's being worked on as we speak. We have the registration department that's cleaning up on the backlog of registration forms and other changes of address. That's going very well. Absentee department's got the Gillis room almost ready. Hopefully in the next day or two we should sign off on that. Laurel's been overseeing the construction of that room, and it's going very well. So I'm very excited about that. We've had the TVs put in to watch the signature checks in that room, so it'll be really nice. So it should be a big help. And basically that's all I have for my board members. We're working on some other items, but I'll be able to give you a written report within the next week.
Okay. Are there any questions? If not, then we will proceed with a report from Kelly Bateman.
Good morning. I have just a few to add to Mr. Goff's report. In the Judges Department, the online application went live for the judges. So I have numbers. We have 1,925 judges. High school, 222 high school. College, 34, and election coordinator, 617. So these are just people who have applied using the online application.
Great. And one of those judges is Helene.
Okay, wonderful. That's right. I think you were one of the first.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's all right.
Okay. If there are no further questions for Ms. Bateman, we'll proceed with the Communications Director, Mr. Allen.
Good morning, Commissioners. We're doing the final development right now of the online application for vote by mail. This has to go live in the early part of August. Also in the early part of August, we'll be testing the latest rendition of the electronic poll books. We are currently gathering quotes from printers for the second step in the canvass, what we call the second mailing, and that's to voters that we have identified as inactive through the first mailing, which was in advance of the March primary. So we expect that, we're hopeful that will be well under $25,000 and will not need further board action, but we will keep you informed of when that mailing will go out and how many. Right now we're looking at approximately 100,000 pieces. We've been working with the State Board of Elections. They've had a couple of issues with their website and their Illinois voter registration system. So far it has not been too disruptive. The issue that we do run into when the IVRS was down was temporarily we didn't have access to confirm the registrations that only included the last 4 digits of the Social Security number. So that was a little bit of a problem. We're next working on the design of the mass mailing to voters in advance of the November election, which we would anticipate going out in early October. And we are not going to include a vote by mail application in each letter to each voter or voter household. But instead we'll be rather forcefully trying to encourage people to go online to apply, because that is smoother. Operationally, it takes much less time. We can process thousands of applications with a keystroke. Lastly, we're working on budget documents both for the county and the city. As you know, the only elections that we have right now are in the 4th ward for the special aldermanic election and runoff if needed.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, Mr. Allen, with regards to vote by mail, for those individuals who do not have access to the internet, do we also offer them some other way of getting a vote by mail application?
Yes, it's a good question. We also advise voters in these mailings that if they need an application sent to them, they can call us. So hopefully they can access a phone, they can give us a call at 269-7900, and we'll mail out a vote by mail application.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
If there are no other questions, we'll proceed with old business. Is there anything to discuss with respect to infrastructure projects and changes in election administration? I think we did that.
We've done that.
And electronic poll books?
As Jim mentioned, we are moving forward with the mock election, August 8th through the 10th. We're going to treat it like a pre-election, election day, post-election.
Okay,
So
great,
we are on schedule for that.
good. Anything else with respect to voting equipment?
We are working for a request for information that we will be sending out. We have another draft that we received from the county. We're working together with the county. Hopefully have something put together in the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you. And legislation, Mr. Scanlon, is there anything?
Madam Chairwoman, nothing new to report. The automatic voter registration bill is still on the governor's desk. He has yet to sign it, and when he does, if and when he does, I'll certainly advise the members of the board.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, under new business, is an RFP, internal control review of post-election testing of voting equipment 5% audit, and we're looking at amending the contract.
Laurel?
Laurel?
Yes. When the BKD LLP looked at the proposal and the final award letter, they were concerned about the indemnification provision that's currently in the contract requirements. And so they felt that unlimited liability was too costly for them to conduct such a small scale of a project. So they requested that we reduce it to a lesser value, and we concluded that the board would accept, the executive director would accept the $50,000 to cover the liabilities for this small project.
And the contract is for $25,000.
Correct.
And the liability would be capped at $50,000.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Scanlon, Mr. Goff, do you have any?
Reviewed this and find no problem with this.
Right. You have a copy of the amendment in your books. I think it's the last document behind the tab for this section on the agenda. And it does cap liability to $50,000 as you stated.
And you believe twice the contract price would be an adequate sum?
Yes, I do.
It seems reasonable.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. If there are no further questions, is there a motion to amend the agreement between BKD and the Chicago Board of Elections to limit the liability amount to $50,000? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes and the amendment is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is a legal report. Mr. Scanlon?
Madam Chairwoman, I don't have anything to report at this time, but at the appropriate time, I'm going to ask the board for a motion to recess into executive session to discuss pending, probable and/or imminent litigation.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment. I did not receive any requests for public comment, and I don't see anyone who indicating that they wish to make a public comment. So we will move on into executive session where we will discuss imminent and pending litigation.
Imminent or probable litigation. Before you do that, just so the record would reflect, there was nothing under financial report in the
Oh,
agenda.
I'm sorry, yes. You're right. There was nothing under financial report. Once we come out of executive session, we will return into open session, and if necessary, make any motions that would be necessary at that time, arising from an executive session. So at this time, is there a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending and imminent litigation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now going into executive session. Thank you. And if you'd like to wait until we come back, then you're welcome to. We are now back in open session. The board took no action in closed session. However, is there something?
I just looked at council's face.
There's no action, formal action taken in executive session.
Correct. But there is a motion
Yes.
before the board.
There is a motion, there is a motion to retain Terry Burns and Michael Gossett to represent the board in case number 16CV 07424 in the Northern District of Illinois, and at the rate, the blended rate of $295 an hour. And Mr. Burns will represent the board and Mr. Scanlon individually and as general counsel of the board. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, and we will get a retainer agreement signed and executed between the parties. Okay, and that was the extent of the executive, of any other business in open session.
No.
There's no other business in open session at this point.
Okay.
Okay, so if there is no other business, Ms. Maroney?
Are you taking comments from the public?
Well, public comment came and went, and just so you know, there's a new, we have, under the bylaws, a new procedure where you have to sign in before the meeting if you wish to state anything in the public comment. Okay?
So I guess the answer is no.
Well, if you'd like, I guess we could give you the couple of minutes.
Oh, that's great, thank you.
Okay, so, and there's a, you were given a copy of the rules, the public comment rules. Okay, so if you can stand here and identify yourself and...
Good morning, Sharon Maroney, and I'm here speaking with regards to the appointment of election judges in the 19 wards in Chicago that do not currently have any GOP committeemen. And I've been selected by the Cook County GOP to assure that we have our Republicans appointed as election judges for those 19 wards, and have been sent letters to all of you and been looking for responses, and I think now we have some momentum moving, and I guess I'm going to have the opportunity to meet with you, Commissioner, and I look forward to that. And I bring the tidings from Cook County Chairman Sean Morrison, his good regards, as well as his belief that it is his responsibility to assure that we have proper representation in all 19 of those wards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or any objections to making sure that we have Republicans in these 19 minority wards?
Thank you very much for your comments, we appreciate it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and at this time, if there is no further action or business before this board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to August 24th at 9 a.m.
Can you do 10? 10's better.
I'm sorry?
10's better for me.
Oh,
We can do 10.
August 24th at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing is adjourned. Board meeting.